King and rook against bear king. As usual, leaping in with a check, and a check just goes nowhere. So we need a better plan than just a check. We know we need our king in the game, and I don't mind starting with that. So chase the king up. That's as close as we can get our king. And now we make our fence. So we'll create this electric fence that the king can't go past, and so the black king has to move, and it's got a choice of 2 squares. I'm going to show you what happens if it comes to the side. Now the kings are opposite each other, and we know that when the kings are opposite each other, it's as though the king is covering the rank of squares. It's not covering all of it, but it's covering all the bits that need to be covered, all the squares that the black king can go to on that rank. So now we can give a check, and the king is driven back. All right. So that's the king comes back. Now, if this was at the edge of the board, which is where we're heading, then we're going to get a checkmate. So king goes back. I'll just show you the checkmate. So it looks something like that. All right. So we'll give our check. King goes back. We'll bring our own king up, and now the king doesn't want to stay. Well, it can't stay opposite our king, so it goes to the side. Now, if we chase the king with our king, this is tedious. Nothing's going to happen here. So we actually want the black king to move opposite our king, and then it's going to be our go. So we don't move our king opposite theirs. We wait for them to move their king opposite ours. Does that make sense? So what are we going to do then? We're going to waste a move with the rook, like that. And now if the king comes opposite our king, aha, check, and the king's driven back. You got the idea? Bring our king up. Oh, now our rook's being attacked, so we'll send it away to the other side of the board. And if the king comes opposite our king, check. King goes back, and now we'll move our king forward. Remember, we don't want to move to this square. We want the black king to move opposite our king. So we'll come here, and now if king to e8, rook to a8, checkmate. Brilliant. What could be easier? Well, that was quite easy because black made lots of mistakes. So, for example, when we checked here, we moved to the side of the board here. I made the king commit suicide, so the king came opposite our king. It doesn't want to do that, so the king should have moved to the side on this square, and now we can give it a choice between moving opposite our king and being checkmated, or going to the corner. It goes to the corner, and now it doesn't have a choice. It has to move opposite our king, and we can play checkmate. And lots of choices like this. When we played the check here, well, perhaps the king could have been more of a nuisance by trying to attack our rook. So it comes to the side here, king e6, and now the king's off to annoy our rook. So we'll move the rook to the other side, and now the king comes out of the corner. We don't want to move our king first. We'll waste a move with the rook. King d8, and that's checkmate. King d8 wasn't the best move. The king should have headed to the corner, and we chase it, and now the king doesn't have a choice. It has to come opposite our king. Checkmate. And so that's really much more how it should work if the defender is defending well. And let's go back to the start again. So we started off chasing the king, and off we go. Well, actually, right at the start here, I showed you the king coming opposite our king, and then there being a check. Well, I think we now know that moving opposite our king wasn't the best thing that the defender could have done. They should have moved to b6, but now we know how to chase them. Yes? So the kings are opposite, the king had to move opposite, and now it's forced back. By the way, if the king ever decides, if the enemy king ever decides that it's going to move backwards, which is a mistake, well, we'll just move our rook up one, and think, well, we didn't have to work for that. So that's another mistake that black can make while defending. Not as easy. So this is the hardest one yet, but I hope it's clear enough. And it's just a little recipe, a little routine you have to go through to make checkmate. Have a practice against each other when you think you've got it, or practice against the computer when you think you've got it. Come and challenge us.